I'm somebody who likes to have a plan. Actually, I prefer to have a plan that comes with a list of next steps. I like to have a plan that is quite detailed and thinks of every possible scenario. I like to think about the future. I like to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of where I am right now. When I was young, my mother used to always say that I had a big imagination. And that's true as an adult as well. I like to think about the future. I like to imagine what it might be like. And of course, this is good in some ways, but it can also be a problem because it can be hard for me to focus on the present. It can be hard for me to focus on where I am right now. And what am I doing in this very moment? And I think that this scripture passage for today, it captures beautifully and poetically this tension between the present and the future, between transformation and acceptance, between growth and steadiness. For everything there is a season, a time for every matter under heaven. There's a kind of experience for every kind of work, for every challenge, for every emotion. Each thing has its own time, its own season. We even get a sense from this passage that there's something inevitable about this. We will experience all of these things over the course of our lives. There will be a season for each of these things. And I think this is kind of common sense for us. We know that there's a time for everything, and everything has a time. It almost seems silly to really talk about it a lot, because it's so much part of how we think about the world. But really, I think that the scripture is presenting us with a major challenge. It's a challenge because what this scripture is calling us to do is live fully embodied. It's calling us to live fully into the moment and to live fully in our bodies. And this is a major challenge. This is a difficult thing to do. It's calling us to have a sense of all of our feelings. It's calling us to feel the feelings. It's also calling us to have a sense of where we are physically and to have a sense of where we may be going in the future. This passage is calling us to feel all of our emotions, but to also feel physically what's happening in our bodies. I think this is a challenge because we often don't want to feel all of what we may be experiencing. We might prefer not to think about it. We don't really want to be sad. We don't want to really experience the hurt that we may feel in our bodies. It's better to ignore it, to think about something else. It's also a challenge because we're busy people. We move from one thing to another thing to another thing. And if we get a chance to rest, to stop during our day, then I don't know about all of you, but I often choose to watch TV or to read a book, to do something that takes me out of myself when I'm resting. Our lives don't have many opportunities to sit and really be present with ourselves, with the moment, with this experience. He has made everything suitable for its time. Moreover, he has put a sense of past and future into their minds. Yet they cannot find out what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for them than to be happy and enjoy themselves as long as they live. Moreover, it is God's gift that all should eat and drink and take pleasure in their toil. The message here is that we are to take pleasure when we can in the experiences of life. And I think part of how we can do this, how we can take pleasure in our lives, how we can enjoy our lives, is really to examine what we're doing, to spend time, to pause and savor the moment. This is so hard to do. It's so much what we're called to do during the holiday season, and it's also a huge challenge. There's so many things to do, so many presents to wrap, so many people to greet, so much food to cook, so much to fill our days. When do we get time to sit and enjoy, to take pleasure in our lives, to relish each moment and each experience? I think it also involves us learning the things that make us sad and the things that delight us. I work with a spiritual director, and one of the things that she does for me is she talks to me regularly on the phone, and she gives me homework, spiritual homework to do. I read scripture, I do prayers. She sort of helps guide me in how I should be living my life spiritually. And one of the things she told me recently was she told me to stop and notice when I was sad or upset or frustrated, and to stop and notice when I was happy and when I was excited and when I was filled with joy. To be mindful of what I was experiencing in my life. One of my favorite quotes is from Howard Thurman. He wrote, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and do it." Because what the world needs is people who come alive. And that's what my spiritual director was getting at. She was saying, be attentive to what makes you come alive. And also be attentive to the season. What season are you in? What season are you in right now? What season are you headed into? What is the season of your life? What are you experiencing in this moment? I think there's something else that the scripture is teaching us, and it's perhaps even a little bit more challenging than the first thing that it teaches us, which is to be mindful of where we are. The second thing is really tough. I think what it's teaching us is that change is inevitable, that change is part of life. And change is hard. Change is hard even for people who love change. Even for people who are longing for change, it's still challenging. And change is challenging because it requires giving something up. Somebody told me once that for every transformation, there must first come a death. For every change, we must first give something up. We have to let something go in order for something new to grow in its place. And this is what challenges us so much about change. We want the change, but we don't want to let go of whatever we need to let go of in order for there to be a change. But the message of this passage is, even though change may be challenging and difficult, it is an integral part of creation. The seasons change. There is a time for everything. Change is part of our lives. It's part of creation. It's part of how God made us to be. It's also teaching us that God is with us through the change. We don't have to struggle alone when it comes time to make a change. When that death comes, we are not alone. When we have to give something up, we are not alone. And when something new grows in its place, we are not alone. God is with us through each and every season, through each change that we make. For everything there is a season. Change may be inevitable, but what we can control is how we respond to it. That is within our control. And what would it look like for our church to live joyfully into change? What would that look like for Farmington Friends? I believe that we are a community within the process of changing, that we are changing, that we are shifting, that new things are growing among us. I think this is very healthy. I think it's good. I think it's needed. Our world is changing. Christianity is changing. And in order for us to continue to be relevant, continue to be vital, then we too must change as a community, as a people of faith. I personally think that it's important to take this opportunity that we are offered through the change of the season, through the change of the year, to examine how we approach change. A new year is almost upon us. We're just about to enter 2015. And what will this season bring to us? What season are we entering? What will this bring to our community? What will it bring to our church? How can we gracefully let go of things to make room for these new growth, for these new changes? I personally think that we are entering a season of growth. Growth in numbers, perhaps, but certainly growth spiritually. I think that we are also entering a season where we will learn more about God as a community. Perhaps where we will learn more about Quakerism. Perhaps this is a season where we will be Christ's hands and feet in the world in a new way. Or perhaps it will be a season where we decide what traditions are truly important to us, so that we can nurture those traditions. Perhaps this is a season where we uncover our roots, things that we've done for many years, but have maybe fallen out of practice. Whatever this season brings, it will be new, and it will be hard, and it will be wonderful and exciting and deep. It will be remarkable because God is with us in this season and through this change. And what about us personally? What changes might we see in this season of our lives? I personally am going to make 2015 a year that I commit to being more fully aware of what is happening right here and now. I'm going to try this year to not think so much about my future plans. I'm going to try to let the list go. Just let it go just a little. Make just a fewer lists. Maybe I'll lock away my sticky notes too. Put them somewhere where I can't see them. 2015 is going to be a year for me to be more attentive to the present, to where I am right now. And I would invite you to do the same. Live in this moment. Take pleasure in what you are experiencing. Live into this season of your life. Live into all of what you are experiencing. I hope that we'll bring this challenge into our silent worship this morning. What is the new season that our church may be entering? What new season are you entering in your life? How can we gracefully accept this change? How can we gracefully let go of things? How can we let new things grow? How can we meet them with joyful hearts, giving praise to God? And how can we be more attentive to God's divine presence with us through the struggles and through the joys of this new year?